already livid about no 222, and now this. It's absurd to me. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think before I go on a rant?
All right, I'll
Before you
say.
go on a rant?
I'll
Oh
say
no, I
this.
could have went a lot longer with a lot more detail.
All right, I'll say this. Am I disappointed that we didn't at least get some changes? Yes. I don't know if 2-2. I'll start this off by saying I like the idea of 2-2-2. I think implementing it between stages 2 and 3 was unrealistic.
Yeah. But
Because
hold on. Let me.
but
No, let me. No,
before you
I will
before
mute you. Look
you
at this. Look at this. Like I can totally mute you before you go on that.
Right on the hit. Pulse Bomb gets nothing effect. Has that one taken away by Troy Hellman. It seems like this could be.
Hello and welcome to the Overwatch League Recap, a talk show focusing on the Overwatch League. I am Blazin' Bob, and today we are joined by a usual suspect in Mel. How you doing, Mel?
Hey, I'm here.
Did you do anything fun over the weekend?
No,
Nothing?
no. It's a really boring weekend.
Oh, bummer
Spent my whole
for
time
you.
trying to get Overwatch cuties.
Why don't you tell us about that?
So Bob and I went to Denver Comic Con, and we walked by this table, and they were giving out free Overwatch cuties, right? Or Cupid Deadlies. So we were like, oh, okay, we'll get one. And then we walked by again, and they were like, come get one, come get one. And we were like, okay. And then they kept screaming, like, one per person, please, one per person, please. And that, I think, just antagonized the fire in us. And we were like, we have to get them all. So we did.
Yeah, so we proceeded to walk back and forth by it, and they were just we talked to the Blizzard people there, and Blizzard gave $800,000 worth of cute but deadlies Series 3, so they probably had a bunch of them because they're on Series 5 now. But they gave them like $800,000 worth, and they were just like throwing them at people, and there was like this whole area of the con, a pretty big area with everybody having way more than one, but everybody trading. Everybody, it reminded me of the 2017 BlizzCon where everybody had the Velcro badges. There was this whole section of BlizzCon where everybody was just trading, trying to collect them all. But it literally was people, like I walked up to somebody, I was like, I'll trade you a Genji for a Hanzo. And they're like, I don't know what that means, but is it one of these? And it was like, yeah. So they definitely like were marketing to people that didn't know what Overwatch was. So I think that was cool, and they probably didn't have anything to do with them either.
Well, they were supposed to give them out to everybody as they entered, but they like dropped the ball or something and didn't give them out to everybody. So then they were just passing them out free, like randomly at a booth. And it was like, okay, yeah, sure. We'll give them out now. That's great.
They were really pushing that first day. And as you can see behind me, I did get almost all of them. So, and we have a lot of...
That was a real crappy Vanna White impression you just did.
You like
there.
that?
You have to do the underhand, like, hey, look at...
Yeah.
Just a side note, we will be bringing, we got like 12 extras. We did give a lot to other people that just didn't have some that they wanted because we weren't trying to rob them, you know what I mean? So, but we do have about 10 extra. And if you come up and say hi to us and that you like the podcast at the Atlanta Reign home game, we will give you a cute but deadly until we run out. But sorry to derail. We have a special guest on the show. Second time he's been on the show. Mr. Edanar has run the gambit tonight, being on ATP around the payload and winning, then going on Al by the numbers and finishing out here at the Overwatch League recap. What's going on, Ed? How you doing?
Yeah, well, like,
sorry, he got disconnected. He can't.
Oh
talk.
yeah. Oh, okay. See, what you have to do is you
It's
really have to
unfortunate.
introduce me as your current unlimited league champion,
From
and
highnoon.gg.
from highnoon.gg and your current Around the Payload champion, Edanar. That's how I prefer to be recognized.
Well, as a
I
former
can win.
Masters player,
Yeah,
I see that.
as someone who can actually win stuff, unlike the Houston Outlaws.
Oh, we're going there already.
I mean, it's rather easy to go there because the Outlaws.
Oh well, the Sparks not doing so hot either.
Really, who made the playoffs?
Yeah, did they win?
Did Houston win? Anything?
We're not comparing Houston to Spark. We're just saying they're not good. Okay.
They're 10 times better than the Outlaws. So, yeah. But no, it's been great. It's been boring, really, the past 2 weeks without actual Overwatch League to watch. Like, we've been able to fill our time with, contenders, which was amazing, and I highly recommend you guys go back and watch that. Even with Fusion University ditching NA for Korean contenders, and go back and watch it. Suck it, EU. That's all I got to say about that. But it's been fun. I've actually been playing a lot of Warcraft, and that's
Dude, I'm
Classic got
pretty
me
sure.
hooked.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Watching all of the streams, I'm pretty sure I'm going back to Classic. And if not working up a full character, I'm at least doing a level 29 twink and just BGing, because I was blown away by how many memories that brought back. And oh my gosh,
God.
I
And,
can't wait.
I came in Wrath, so I didn't experience Classic. And oh my God, just watching these streams, I'm like, I want to play this. Like, I'm the type of person who wants to grind for 4 straight days to hit
and see,
level cap,
like,
and not be able to ride around on a mount.
Mel and
Overwatch League, guys. Overwatch League.
like Mel and I played at a high
distract us
level.
from our sidetracking.
Like, we played at a high level and we loved it. But you are right. We are going to move into the show, and I'd like to start the show always by thanking our recap producers, Shazir and Ridiculous Brent. Thank you guys so much, and thank you to all of our patrons. Also, there's no other housekeeping, I don't think. Oh, yeah, the podcasters round tables. You guys can check those out on multiple feeds. I've been just kind of like out of the loop, and I didn't get the second one put up on our YouTube, but it is everywhere. You can find it on all kinds of feeds, so I don't think it's actually necessary for me to put it up now because it's been so long, but you guys should definitely check those out. 19 different personalities all clashing in 2 different epic showdowns was pretty exciting, to say the least.
I will say the first one was way better than the second. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah,
I'd
agreed.
have to.
And I'm gonna agree with Ed, which is like, ugh.
Yeah, like if you want to watch actual good commentary, watch the first one or listen to the first one. The second one is kind of like, meh, we've heard this all before. Let's just go back and listen to the first one over again.
Yeah, see, the second one, I was just trying to get people to talk because there was a lot of strong personalities on there that were taking over. And I was like, what does so-and-so think?
I think there was only 3 of us on the first one. It's fine.
Yeah, we did kind of shut people out, but I'm okay with that.
Listen, you need to be more assertive, people.
Yeah, just like this. We're moving on to what's going on tonight. We're going to talk some league news. We're going to talk some team news, do a little stage preview, and that's going to be the show. So without further ado, let's jump into league news. Oh, rumors that Stage 3 will not be played on the most recent PTR patch.
Oh, wait, that's old.
Yeah, it's not rumors. It's going to be played on patch 1.36.01, which does not have the changes to Diva, the changes to McCree. It's literally like 2 little things changed at the end of stage 2, like Junkrat change, which isn't going to change much. I am beyond pissed about this.
Baptiste Immortality Field changed a little bit,
Oh yeah, where it will
and
go on a cart or cars. Yeah. Okay. Great.
then Wrecking Ball's Minefield,
I'm
where
so upset
if it
about
lands
this
on a
right
moving
now.
platform, it
There's
will
no
move
reason to
along
even
with the
talk about
platform.
it. It's just so dumb. Like, we had the longest break in Al mid-season we've ever had. It is absurd to me that they're not getting a big patch in between, a balancing patch. Like, I was already livid about no 222, and now this, it's absurd to me. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think before I go on a rant?
All right, I'll
Before you
say.
go on a rant?
I'll
Oh
say
no, I
this.
could have went a lot longer with a lot more detail.
All right, I'll say this. Am I disappointed that we didn't at least get some changes? Yes. I don't know if 2-2. I'll start this off by saying I like the idea of 2-2-2. I think implementing it between stages 2 and 3 was unrealistic.
Yeah. But
Because
hold on. Let me.
but
No, let me. No,
before you
I will
before
mute you. Look at this. Look at this. Like, I could totally mute you. Before you go on that, we've talked 222 to death. Tell me why there wasn't this balance patch put in.
there is no excuse for this for the one with Orisa, McCree, all those changes.
Diva.
There's a diva. There's no reason that it's not in
I know.
the patch. I don't get that because if they release it 1 week earlier, it's in this. It's in stage 3. I don't get why they don't have it in there. And especially since they kind of strived to point out that they want to try and make sure that updates match, like updates to the game match with
the league.
the league when the stage. So you're not getting patches put in midway through a stage and then everyone's playing on different patches. Well, now everyone's playing on different patches because right now Orisa actually in live game kind of broken.
Oh,
Like-
she's a monster right
Okay.
now.
Like
I feel like though they're just like, whatever. Nobody cares because nobody's playing goats in competitive ladder anyways. So forget it. We're just gonna like do what we want. But no, realistically, I feel like they came into some issue with the patch before they put it on PTR because there's no reason they couldn't have put that on PTR a week ago and then had it ready for Al. And I think they were planning on that. And I think something must have happened. Something must have happened in the testing that broke something
Well,
and they couldn't do it.
Well, I mean, they put it out right after the All-Stars game. So, I mean, they've had plenty of time with it in. It's got the replay system in it. And we just thought, Jeff said the replay system will be in for stage 3. So I thought, duh. So is this whole patch. But no, it's...
But the replay
I think
system
you
is
might be
different
onto
than
something, Mel. There might be a game-breaking bug currently in the PTR that they couldn't hammer down, and so therefore they had to make like an oh shit move. And what I think they should do is come out and apologize for it not being ready, but instead they just are silent about it. I'm just a little mad about these few things.
I mean, you
really,
can't
I couldn't tell.
You can't expect them to apologize for things that they never promised us, right? Like they never promised us that this new patch would be in place in stage 3. They never promised
They
us 222.
promised
They never
us-
promised us Diablo 3, right? Like
Well, no, they
never
did promise
promised
us.
these
Yes, they
things.
did promise us that the patches would run in sync. Actually, I take that back. Nate promised us that the patch would be in sync with the
Right.
stages. And
Well-
see, the first blunder with Nate gone right now. This is the first blunder.
Now
It's not even live. You don't even know when it's going to go live. Maybe it's going to be in PTR for the next 3 weeks because there's bugs.
yeah.
Who knows?
Could be.
The other thing is would these have? You have to ask yourself, would these changes have actually gotten rid of goats? Probably not.
No. Probably not.
like,
But it
even
would have
with these
changed some
changes-
stuff. It would have pushed teams because at the
It would
start
have
of
pushed
each
bunker comp.
Well, no, you know at the start of each stage. Like think of the start of stage 2 with all of those changes. We had some crazy cool like stuff tried out for the first 2 weeks. Then it went back to goats. But like we're gonna have less cool stuff tried out at the start of stage 3 because there's just not much that has changed.
Well, like,
But
I
have you
mean,
met the Chengdu hunters?
like here's the thing: you have like three different areas of the Overwatch League of kind of figured out. Is you have the GOATS teams that are actually good, and you're looking at Shock, Titans, New York Excelsior, Spitfire. They run GOATS, they're good at it. You have the crap teams who don't know what they're going to do, who still try and run GOATs. You have your
Outlaws.
Justice, Outlaws, Mayhem. Don't even act like that, Mel. Outlaws are bottom 3 team. Shush it. And then you have the middle tier teams who are like, all right, we'll run GOATs sometimes, but we're going to also run Bunker Comp. Like, Bunker Comp would have gotten stronger with this, but it still would have been a comp that is for the middle of the road teams. Like, they're like, well,
Yeah,
we're
the
not
top tier
as
teams-
good.
The top tier
as
teams
GOATs.
aren't going to switch off of
No.
GOATs until they're proven that they can't beat people on it. Like right now, the top tier teams are basically undefeated on GOATs. So why would they be the ones that change the meta when they're waiting for somebody to change the meta to prove to them that it needs to be changed?
I want to see the Outlaws try their goats up against Clockwork's Vendetta.
I want to see
do
the
it.
Houston
Match of a
Outlaws
lifetime.
play. I don't know. Me?
I want to see the Houston Outlaws get bought out by a team and not be stuck behind so many different like red tape things, okay? And then we can talk about the Houston Outlaws and their failure.
Yep. But so that's what it's going to be. We're going to see more goats. Hopefully, a couple of the teams level up. I think New York Excelsior, the Dallas Fuel are just a couple that could level their goats up to compete. I don't think win, but compete for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we will just have to see. Mel, do you want to hit this next one about the LGBTQ plus community?
Well, I can, yes. So Al is celebrating the LGBTQ community on Pride Day on Friday, June 7th at the Blizzard Arena and across the globe, they say. So all attendees at the Blizzard Arena receive this Overwatch League, they call it a bandana, which I don't know what that is, but it's cute. And it's like a Pride Day bandana. I don't know. And then
Is it
there's a bunch of different like things like around the world. So like there's one in Seattle and Boston and London just for a video game.
I mean, it's a bandana, a bandana made by Bran.
No, it's like a bandana, but like without the dana, right? Like it's just like a headband.
It's like a
To
head.
be
Okay.
honest, it's like a thick headband.
Okay.
Cool.
Good for them. Like, this is pretty cool of them.
Yeah.
A lot of companies aren't. Blizzard has always been very forward thinking. A lot of companies don't want to ruffle feathers and like go one way or another, so they just kind of stand back from it. And Blizzard is one of those companies that's just like, hey, we're gonna go full force. We're gonna.
Which they did with Overwatch. I mean, Overwatch
Yeah, they
supports
they've been
a
doing
lot
it for a long time.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
Overwatch. I mean, we're gonna find out pretty soon. You know that 2 of the characters are trans, and like one of them's Bastion, and that was a pretty easy, change.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it was bad. It was a bad joke. It
That was a
bad joke.
horrible joke.
But yeah, I think I think this is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's inclusive. I know there's a lot of the LG. God, I always screw this up. LGBTQ plus community in Overwatch. We see them streamers and Sabriel, which you were on ATP with tonight. So good for them and good for Overwatch, helping them feel more comfortable and part of it. So it's
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, you even have the players. I mean, you look at Elk, you look at Muma,
Yep.
Effect
Yep,
came out, and that was a big deal for Effect because South Korea is definitely not
It was a
the
huge,
most
yeah, it was a huge deal.
forward-thinking. But this is great. Like, this is good for them in the. Without getting political, the nature of the country right now is to kind of not be forward thinking like this. For Blizzard to just be like,
What
we're
happened?
going out there. We're just going full force into this. So good for them. And they've always been this kind of company, which is one of the reasons why fans love them so much.
Yep, definitely. So it's team news. Awesome guy leaves Mayhem to pursue coaching opportunities. Now, Mayhem's just all over the place and not really sure what's going on with them. I think about their just move to an all Korean roster, and I think that next year with regionalization, they're going to be one of the furthest teams away from Korea. So getting Korean players to come there and not be able to go home like in a shorter amount of time seems kind of crazy to me. So they're just crazy across the board. But what do you guys think about awesome guy leaving?
I mean, I think with that statement, I think New York is mainly Korean too, and it's probably
But they did that before.
not that much further
I'm
away.
just saying it's a dumb move to make mid-season now when we're going to home stadiums next year. It was a smart thing to do season 1.
I don't know. I disagree. I think Florida tried something, it didn't work. They tried something else. So, like, I think they're moving in the right direction. They figured out their communication just wasn't going to cut it. They had tried the mixed roster, it wasn't working. They finally released all of the players that were on their team that weren't Korean, that they had already kind of released, but hadn't like released from the rosters, but like Apply and Tavik and all of them. But I don't know. I mean, I think Awesome Guy is just, he said he was doing this like player coach role, and now he wants to do more of a coach role. And maybe he'll be great. He doesn't have a team yet, so I don't know.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
he just found out that he really liked it.
Yeah, I mean, he was already benched and in a coaching role in stage 1 and 2. Like that, they had flat out said that he's basically not playing. He was just going to coach. Now, with the rumored signings of that, we haven't gotten official that they not only did they trade for Fate, they also signed 2 more tanks from Korea. That would have put 5 tanks on. I think it would have been a 10-man roster. Essentially, like you're not carrying 5 tanks. Like he was obviously the guy who was going to get sent away.
I mean, in a 3-tank meta, 5 tanks really isn't that ridiculous.
But I mean, is in a 3-tank meta where one of the tanks is actually a DPS player because Zarya is your DPS. But I mean, they're just I don't get what the Mayhem are doing.
Well, and Mel, you didn't put some of the other stuff too. Pluppy, aka Tavik, dropped from the team.
Yeah,
right, but Tavik and Apply and all of the people that they had already stated were not going to be on the team finally just officially got dropped. I think they were out in trade talks to try to get something for them, and everybody realized like you're not gonna freaking keep them anyways, so I'm just gonna wait for you to drop them. Yeah. And so now they dropped him. So
like Apply, it seems, has already signed with someone else. Whether that's an Overwatch League team or a Contenders team, we don't know yet. Probably a Contenders team.
Probably Contenders, unfortunately, because I thought that he could have really been good if he would have had a good, decent chance.
He's a good Sombra. I will say that. He is a pretty darn good Sombra. So he could find a team rather easily as a 2-way player, as like a Sombra specialist in this meta. But like, I don't get what the Florida Mayhem are doing. Like plain and simple. Like, I get it if they're going.
Well, okay, but on ATP tonight, Hex gave a little bit of inside information about Bare Hands. He said he didn't know how much control Bare Hands had at the start of season 2, and the control's slowly been moved over to him. He was told to wait till stage 3. So I think with that information, stage 3 is Bare Hands' roster, and they just weren't really saying that it wasn't his roster before.
But as the roster is right now, what Bare Hands did is he traded for Fate and signed a backup healer. Nothing else has actually been announced. So right now, basically, they're just going in. The only addition they have is they signed Fate, who went from, like, yes, Fate was an amazing player in season 1. him and Space together were a top tank duo, but Fate has just not looked like Fate, and he went from a bottom tier team to a bottom tier team.
Yeah, but I think the
Like
effect could be
he doesn't
really
make
good.
the Mayhem better. Like
I
he's
think he
better.
does.
That's not true. That's not true.
He
I
doesn't
don't
make
agree
them
that
outside
he-
of the bottom 5.
Okay, but him alone? No, but one person alone in the GOATS meta doesn't make any team.
But
that
that's
much
all
better.
they did. They're starting the
But
same
they've been
other
doing
5.
this
But
since
they
stage
but
2.
they had started
Like-
to improve in stage 2.
Yeah.
Like they
They
didn't
also
win,
aren't
but I
playing their
mean they
best
started to
player.
improve.
Like,
Saya player?
yeah, they're not even playing Saya player.
Yeah,
And
but
they
Houston's not
feature
playing
side-
Lynx or New York's not playing Sabiobi. Like a lot of teams aren't playing their best DPS players.
But like you're talking about New York and Gladiators who are in the top.
But I'm talking about the
Mayhem's
fact that like
trash.
right, but just because a person is good at DPS doesn't mean that they're good at communicating. Like a lot of these players who are oh my god. A lot of these players who are solo DPS players, like a tracer type of player, they're not the best at communicating because they don't really have to as much as they do in a GOATS meta with Zarya.
But what's better than being the bottom team? Anything. Like
Right. But
they're
who's to
the
say that-
bottom team.
Who's to say that Saya player would have made them anything but the bottom team?
Who knows? They didn't even try it.
How do you know they didn't try it though?
Because
You're
he
not in
didn't
their
play.
secret scrims.
Well, all right, if scrimbucks were a thing, the Outlaws would actually be good.
Well,
I mean, scrimbucks are a
we
thing.
could have an entire
Just
episode.
maybe don't have
we
much.
we could have an entire episode about Mayhem and how they've screwed up. But if you want that, go check out Mayhem Maniacs. It's a podcast just about Mayhem, and I've actually been enjoying it as of late. But
I have a
moving on.
feeling they will never invite me to be on the podcast.
Probably not me either.
Probably not.
Yeah, no. Like an
They
Outlaw
talk. No, they talk.
podcast.
No, they talk smack on them. They don't pull any punches. But we're not talking
If
about
there's
the
an
Mayhem
Outlaw podcast out
anymore.
there, invite me on.
Asher retires from the Toronto Defiant. Now, Asher's had a rough run. He started out in the Gladiators as a pretty decent tracer. The start of season 1, and he's just kind of slowly fallen. He was like a coach for a bit, I think. Like I don't know, but he's gone. He retires. Do you guys have any thoughts about this?
Yeah, like he didn't really play this year. It was just one of those things where he just probably didn't see him starting or getting playtime anytime soon. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go back to South Korea. And as bad as this sounds, he's 23.
Right.
That's old for like that's weirdly
That's old for a DPS player, but support
It
and
is.
tank can definitely play into their later 20s. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Right.
look,
But I guess I'm also thinking like, yeah, he's 23. So he's still got some time, right? And if he thinks he's going to be sitting on the bench for 2 years in Overwatch League, he might as well go back to Korea and do something else. Because him sitting on the bench for 2 years, I don't care how much he's getting paid, isn't going to support him for the rest of his life. Because then once he does get a chance again, he's not going to be good enough, right? And so I think that's what we're seeing more so in this GOATS meta phenomenon that we have going on right now is that these DPS players that are younger might jump ship to another game that they can showcase their skills as opposed to sitting on the bench waiting for an opportunity to show that they can play in an FPS game that is an FPS right now.
which is why Goats is hurting us really bad right now.
yeah. And he probably also saw the writing on the wall that they call up 2 non-Korean players from their contenders team who will probably end up being starting. And like he's just like, that's just more people on the team that may bump me back from my play time. It's he probably just saw the writing on, and you know, probably just wanted to go home. That's another thing. Like, you're that far from home and not playing, you get homesick that way. If you're fully playing like every week, you probably get a little less homesick than I'm just going to sit in this room and watch other people play.
This is the worst trip I've ever been on, so let me go home. So the Chengdu Hunters Jiggy Reed visa has finally been approved. I don't know anything about this player. Does anybody?
So he was a main tank on Miraculous Youngsters,
Mhm.
and he played with Late Young and Yang Zhao Long. And let's be honest, it's probably the reason Chengdu came out with like such a crazy wrecking ball strategy is because their main tank wasn't there already. But I'm pretty sure that we are good with the Chengdu Hunters the way they are. So, Mr. Jikurin, back off. That's all I'm saying.
I will say this. He gives the Chengdu Hunters a different aspect that they can approach things. You're gonna see him in there for Amang more often when they want to run a more goats type of map,
But
because it
we
allows
don't
them.
want them to
We
run a
don't want
more
to, but it
non-goats.
works best for them.
Whatever.
Like, let's be real. He plays Reinhardt Winston. They didn't play Winston in one map for 1 second this season.
But look at how
So
popular Aemon got.
popular doesn't win you games.
It wins you fans.
Well, those fans don't win games, and that's what really the owners care about, because that's where the
that is
money.
not. The
They
owners
care about
care
winning.
about No, the owners care about money, dude. Money. Okay, so
You don't
we're
get
in
money
a-
for
No, hold
winning.
on.
Winners
let me
make more
finish. Let me finish my statement. Just like the NFL, AL is a profit-sharing organization. Therefore, if the league does good, everybody does good. That's why the Cleveland Browns can continue to make money hand over fist, losing every year. That's why the Chiefs were so bad for so many years, because fans will still buy the merch, and you're also still getting paid by the league. I mean, it it's really a brilliant format that Nate brought to esports, and it's something that teams used to have to drop out constantly because they just couldn't turn a buck. But now they're going to turn a buck, win or lose.
Yeah, but teams who win will generally make more
Get
money.
more. Definitely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, if you're gonna make more one way or the other, and you can make more money by winning, then you obviously want to win more than not. Like, and if they can run a good goats team with having, I'm not even gonna attempt to say his name. I'm just gonna call him Jamiroquai. And
Hey, we both tried.
yes, if you can run a competent goats team on certain maps where it's obvious goats map, then they're probably going to do that, because Miraculous Youngsters, let's be real, that is the team they bought. Like, the Miraculous
I
Youngsters
think he would have
coach.
started. I think he would have started if his visa had gone through.
hmm I mean, when the head coach was your coach in Contenders, there's a reason he brought you along. So I'm not saying he's going to replace him, but I'm saying you're going to see him probably on sporadic maps from here to there. And you're going to see them run actual goats instead of 4 DPS and Wrecking Ball.
I just don't know if that's a good idea. It's so telling, right? Like, it's the same thing that the Outlaws come into when, like, they swap in different players, right? It's like, oh, we know what they're going to play.
Well, I mean, that can be said about every Titans matchup, every Shock matchup.
Yeah, but they're so good, it doesn't matter. If you're not playing goats every single map, every single game, you're not going to be as good as the Titans.
No. But every team ends up playing goats at least a couple of maps, except for the Hunters. And the Hunters are a middle of the pack team. maybe these goats can push them up into being into 8th place, 7th, 8th place, and get into the stage 3 playoffs because they played goats for a few maps.
Maybe.
I mean, it could be. I don't know. It's another person that's probably going to get voted to start the All-Star game next year.
Oh, man. So, moving into what to expect for Stage 3. Well, first off, goats. But for map pool, you could expect Control, Ilios, Oasis, and Nepal. For Assault, you could expect Paris, Volskaya Industries, and Horizon Lunar Colony. For Hybrid, you can get Hollywood, which I'm excited about, Eichenwald, or Numbani. And for Escort, first time, we're going to see Havana. We're going to see Watchpoint Gibraltar and Dorado. You guys excited about any of these maps? I'm excited about Havana and Hollywood because Hollywood hasn't had a lot of representation across all the stages so far in the Overwatch League as an entirety. But Havana, I'm really interested to see.
Go ahead, Mel.
I mean, I'm excited to see Havana, so somebody can show me how to play it. But I'm very unexcited to see Paris again. I just don't think that people have figured out how to play Paris. I don't know if you guys saw Super stream, but he is vocally annoyed about it. And
yeah, but I think that's why they're doing it, because we see so much different stuff on Paris.
Yeah, we see a lot of different stuff on Paris, but at the same time, we see a lot of really short games on Paris too.
I'm actually really surprised they haven't changed the one choke. Like every map they've come out that's had one single choke, like Eichenwald to start with, like they've went ahead and went in there and changed that to where there's two different entrances. It's weird that they've kept it this one little itty bitty choke on point one.
To be honest, maybe they're just trying to get more data for Paris from the Overwatch League to determine what changes need to be made.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at these maps, I can definitely see an uptick in bunker comps coming around in certain maps. Like you're looking at Paris, obviously bunker comp there. Volskaya, you can probably get some bunker comp there as well. Same with Horizon Lunar Colony. I don't know like about Havana Unana, which is how you must pronounce it. It's Havana Unana.
Havana Unana.
Exactly. You automatically start singing it in your...
I did. I was dancing.
I don't know what to expect
Going
from
to
there.
Havana.
You could see everything from goats to bunker to sniper, because it is definitely a sniper friendly map. I'm not counting on sniper, but it could be a thing. So I see goats uptick in bunker comps, and unfortunately Paris is still there. I hate Paris so much. I hate that map so much.
I'm not a big fan either. We did six stacking the other night. Havana, we rocked the house every time. Paris, I'm telling you, man, I tried ball, I tried Orisa, I tried all kinds of different stuff, but I just could not get a flow going.
Here's the thing.
Paris is one of those you have to switch, like you have to switch or you have to commit, right? Because if you can take first point on goats, you're ahead of the game. But typically, and if you can defend first point on goats, you're ahead of the game. Yeah. But if you don't, if you do the bunker or you do the DPS comp, then you're probably not going to hold second point if you do the bunker on first and lose it. Because, and you're probably not going to take second point if you do DPS.
You're not tell the listeners why, though. It's because of ult economy. Basically, switching to goats after being in the bunker, you lose everything, and that's kind of it's kind of a big problem across Overwatch in general. Is just not wanting to switch because of ult economy, and they built the game wanting you to switch often. And it used to be that you got your ultimate a lot quicker, but they changed that a long time ago before the Overwatch League even came about, and it's kind of a bummer because it messes up the professionals and it messes up the actual regular ladder. You have people that should be switching, but they're not going to switch because they have their ult. Then they die to two more fights, and don't ever switch because they never get a good chance to use the ult. It's unfortunate because the game revolves around ults, and so that's kind of a big problem. I almost wonder. See, but you could game that though because everybody gets their ult differently. Like I almost wonder if ults should, you know, go into the next pick that you pick, but or if you have your ult, you get like half or something. I'm not really
Yeah.
sure how I feel about that, but like it is a big problem when wanting to switch on every level of the game.
Yeah.
I just think ultimates are too strong.
They 100% are. And I can tell you exactly how every Paris map goes. You're on offense, bunker on defense on point A. As soon as you take over bunker on point A, you steamroll because of the ult economy. Like you steamroll them, they're either going to A, go bunker and keep their ult charge on point B, which bunker comp, as good in theory as it might be, is not that effective up on that little ledge behind the point. It's just not that effective because they can come at you from any left or right.
You just got
And
me
they can get
hot
behind you.
again, Ed, because you just reminded me that without this patch, this PTR patch going into stage 3, we don't have the changes to 2 CP.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
So they can just. It's basically like, all right, we're gonna attack point A against their bunker comp until we get ultimates. We're gonna dig ultimates, take out one or two, win that, and then we're just gonna steamroll them. And that's how every Paris map goes, just because bunker is actually quite strong on point A, but so weak on point B, they have to switch. So you are forcing the defensive team to either A, full hold on point A, or lose point B. Like that is what you're forcing them to do.
Yeah,
'Cause you're not
normally
seeing
they
many
just end up
teams-
giving up point A pretty easily, though.
Yeah, like a lot of times they'll just be like, you know, we're gonna give up point A, we're gonna run goats. They're gonna win one team fight, but at least we have our ult charge to stop them in point B. And that's basically how you have to stop them. But a lot of people are like, we're gonna run, you know, bunker comp on point A and try and do a full hold, and it just doesn't work out for them. So it's just a shit map all around. It's just a bad map.
It might get
Paris.
better.
Paris. There's a reason that the two worst things in Overwatch are both related to France: Baguette and Paris. Delete them both.
Oh, come on.
Am I wrong?
I don't think you need to delete Brigitte.
All our problems started when she came into the game.
Yeah,
Not
but
true.
then
We had so many
intensified.
problems before she came into the game. People
We had-
hated dive.
Yet right now people are clamoring.
I
for
don't know.
2-2-2.
Yeah, I don't know that I ever hated dive. I was interested to see something else, but I mean, dive definitely evolved over the metas. You had the tracer dive, and you had the sniper dive, and like we haven't like we've
You got
seen
the
goats evolve
Sombra
into
goats,
Sombra goats. I
the
guess
Winston goats, the
short
Reinhardt
time
goats,
protect McCree goats.
Yeah, I mean, you saw about as much evolution from dive as you have from goats.
Yeah,
And careful what you wish for. Like, I mean, people want something, and then
I would
they
much
get
rather
it,
see
and
dive come back than keep watching goats. I want to see some more Genji 4Ks. I want to see Widow pop off with 3 shots and all of them headshots. I want to see some exciting stuff. I want to see these guys that are riding the bench, that are the best mechanical players in the league, play. That's what I want to see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I wouldn't rather see dive. I'm just saying people were crying for dive to be over, and Brig killed dive, and now we're stuck here.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
the worst.
Well, with the 2-2-2, Brig still could have killed Tracer. And I think what you're talking about is everybody bitching about Tracer. And if a team didn't have a like really good Tracer starter, then they weren't doing good. And like
Let's just
Brig still
Truly
stops
unfortunate
Tracer
for my
if
All right, let's
she
just-
gets reworked in a 2-2-2 setting.
let's just deal with the real problem in I'll say this, it's Diva. Like, if there's been one constant throughout Overwatch, before even the Overwatch League, Diva has been meta in basically
Always.
every meta. Like, she is the actual problem. Like, you can't have a character who
But
fits
is she
into
the
every
problem?
if you have one character who fits into every meta, no matter what it is, that is a problem.
But is it though? Like, I feel like the fact that she fits into every meta but does it differently makes her a more versatile character than it does a Tracer who only fits into a dive meta without Brigitte and a Reinhardt who only fits into a Deathball meta.
She
Like,
definitely has a ton of different play styles.
She does have a ton of different playstyles, but it's you're literally building a team, be like, hey, let's get these 5 characters, and then throw in Diva.
I mean,
Like, that is a character.
It was Lucio until the Mercy
He got
meta.
nerfed. Yeah, and then
No, not even him getting nerfed. It was just Mercy was too strong.
Mercy was too strong, and then they had to nerf her because otherwise Mercy would be the exact same way.
But
It's
I
just
don't
like,
think Diva's
who are you
that
gonna start?
overpowered. I
It's
don't think
not that-
Diva's so oppressive as like Mercy was.
No, but I don't think Baguette is as oppressive. It's just her kit makes things possible.
Her kit
Like-
makes things possible with a heavy set death ball, which by I mean like heavy tanks.
Yeah,
And like
like
that's
if
what
you go
makes it
if
possible.
you go 2-2-2,
Briggs
let's say we go
gone. Yeah,
2-2-2,
Briggs gone if you go
she's
2-2-2.
gone.
They'll
'Cause
have to
as a
rework
support,
her.
She's horrible.
Yeah, they would have to completely rework her or move her to tank or move her to DPS. Like, it would definitely fix it. But I mean, on ladder though, you have a really good Tracer coming after you. You might switch to Brig if
I was
you're
gonna
a
say, you go
support.
Brig Ana or Brig Mercy, and I think you'd be fine. If you have a Tracer or something for the Brig to needs to be there for. You know what I mean?
Mhm. So I don't know. I think Diva needs to be. I hate to say this, but and those of you World of Warcraft fans out there know this, is back in I think Legion, a certain spec of warlocks was broken. So
Yeah,
they
it's called
literally
the SL lock. I was one of them.
they
Got
basically were
3K
just like
in arena, baby.
they basically just said, you know what, we're just gonna nerf this so it's unplayable and fix it during the when the
Yeah,
next
it was
expansion
Soul
comes out.
Lock, Soul Leech, Warlock.
I almost want to say it's that time for Diva. Because you nerf her to the ground and then you build her up to something more that fits into the because Overwatch is built
They've
for you to switch,
continuously nerfed Diva.
and it's not.
And they have
working.
continuously nerfed Lucio. Yeah, it's the same thing because they're not so overpowered at anything, but their utility is good across the board, right? So like they're not the best off tank or the best off healer. They're also not the worst off tank or the worst off healer, but they provide other things to their team that make it worth it. But they're just okay at what they do.
It's just I just can't get past the point of if you have one character who is been in the meta and everyone wants the meta to change. If you have one character who's been in the meta for 3 years, it's time for that person to not be in the meta. And I think Diva might be that character. Because like Baguette, like we said, they've nerfed her over and over and over again. And she's still useful in 3-3, but not useful outside of that.
Yeah, I mean
Diva is
they
useful
nerfed
in
the wrong
anything.
things. Like, so Briggs, her stun goes 8 meters. Maybe think about changing that to 5 meters, making it harder to get the stun off. You know, things like that instead of changing, how much damage the stun does, yada, yada, yada. Like, try changing things like that, which they are trying with Diva, but we're not going to get to see in Stage 3.
Sorry, mic muted. No, it's one of those things. I don't know. It's there something needs to happen. I'm surprised they didn't actually make her stun not eligible to go through shields. That is one that I thought they could do. So she can't stun the Reinhardts.
Well, but they did do that.
They
Like,
did?
yeah, they did that a long time ago. Like she can't.
Why am I drawing a blank on this?
Yeah,
I thought she
can't
couldn't.
stun through shields. That's why I've talked about how Brigitte play is so important, and nobody really sees what they're doing because they have to rotate around Ryan at the specific right time and make sure Ryan doesn't turn the shield towards them. Like that's something they changed a long time ago, and I remember your Overwatch channel saying, "Well, this doesn't nerf goats. It just makes it it just makes it harder to play, but it doesn't nerf it at all." Mel,
you're muted now.
yeah, you've been muted.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I think you look at though, who's the first person that they swap out in a goat's meta? Diva.
Diva, yeah.
This is not rhetorical, guys. I needed an answer here. But who's the first person they swap out? They swap out Diva. So she's not a necessity. Now, some people think she is, but she's not as necessary as Zarya and Reinhardt right now. And if you want to play a Sombra, you're going to swap out your Diva unless you're the Houston Outlaws, which we won't talk about. But that's the most effective play. So I think that overall, Brigitte, Diva, whatever, it's just this 3-3 meta that is allowing these heroes that maybe aren't the best off tank, off healer, whatever, to be played because there's 3 now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
there's a new large amount of changes that could kill goats. They're just too scared to make them. Whether it's changing,
We need more Torb.
Whether it's changing Lucio, like nerfing Lucio and his Boop, because Boop is a giant a fight starter. You boop the Reinhardt out of position, and then that's your go sign. They could do anything. Zarya could get nerfed. Reinhardt could get nerfed. Like there's so many things they could do. It's just I don't know how they can do it. Wow, we went off on a tangent about goats again.
We don't have a lot of content for this week, so I just let it roll.
You just let it go.
I was trying to get chat to give us a question.
And the thing is I think if we get rid of goats, which I think everyone wants to get rid of goats, you're going to start seeing some characters that are severely overpowered and probably need to get nerfed.
Here, well,
because they've kept buffing characters.
Let's shift it to this though. Let's shift it to just CC. So when more CC got introduced into the game, that's when we started to see the problems with a lot of different things. And that's when we started to see the big tank comps and big support comps really work out. I mean, there's so much CC in the game. And CC not just lose control of your character, but CC like Sombra's hack. Like Sombra's hack makes so many characters just unplayable. I mean, it's unreal how much you can you could lose by just not being able to do your moves. And you got Doom that takes away control. You got Mei that takes away control. You got you got Brig, which is the biggest culprit. But is CC maybe the biggest problem? And should maybe they just cut all CC in half? Like all stun durations or lost control of character in half?
It could be a route that they take. Like CCs are stunned, losing a bit. Even his pile drive kind of, is a CC effect and to some degree. When he knocks you up in the air, you kind of oh my god, what's going on? And then
it's a complete CC. They actually changed it a little bit, so you get a little. They gave you a little more, but you're still pretty messed up. And you got Orisa too,
Like you used to only have to deal with Kree and Roadhog. That was really it.
Kree was the closest. You had to get really close to him. Hog pissed a lot of people off because,
and then they nerfed that.
Yeah, well, they didn't really nerf the CC, but they just
nerfed
the one shot kill. They nerfed the hook in the sense that the BS hooks couldn't happen anymore around corners, but like it's still a really powerful ability, and Hog would be played a lot more if he wasn't an ult battery, which he's really not in the bunker horse meta we see ourselves in the regular game at the moment.
Yeah, like Sombra, the reason Sombra is becoming so prevalent now is because she's the ultimate form of CC. And there's legit nothing you could truly do about it.
And it's the CC that makes you feel even worse than being stunned, because you can move around and do all this stuff, but you're like, I can't do anything. I remember
you get so pissed. It's like, okay, if you're CC, if you're stunned, you're like, okay, shit, I'm stunned. And you can't do anything. With Sombra, it's more like, okay, shit, I can move around and use my primary fire, but all my abilities have been taken away. Like, that's the worst feeling. Like Sombra, if you are a Sombra one trick, you are a horrible person. I'm just gonna say that now. You are the problem in the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, but to be a Sombra one trick though, you still, like, outside of a team, she still could just be a total feeder. I mean...
Oh, yeah. If you're not playing Sombra right, huge detriment to your team. But being able to take away someone's full ability is massive. Like, CC is definitely a problem in this game. From, you got the Sombra, McCree, like we said, Roadhog, Orisa,
Doom May.
Oh, it's just brutal.
Yeah, if I could see pictures of them, I could tell you all of them. But it is a lot of CC, and maybe that's the biggest problem. CC is the biggest problem for DPS, because DPS are squishy.
Right. I just don't think you can cut it down by 50% by everybody. Like, I think that defeats the purpose of balancing, right? Like, that's such an easy balance, like, move to take, which is silly, right? Because you cut down Doomfist CC comparatively to McCree's CC, and it's very different, right? And it changes the characters completely. So I don't know. I don't know that cutting it down is the answer. I think the problem is that they put more CC into the game, I think, to kill Dive. They killed Dive, and now it's like, how do we come back from that? How do we kill goats without destroying the game, right? Like, I think that's your big problem.
It's, I mean, there's no right answer, because no matter what they do, they're going to piss off certain parts of the fan base. Like, they could kill goats, but then they're going to piss off half the players who like not playing goats, but like playing those characters that just got nerfed to the ground and aren't really that viable anymore. It's like, it's a catch-22 for them. Like, I think they want to get rid of goats. I even think Jeff has said that publicly, but I think they're being hesitant without going the nuclear option of, just nerfing certain characters to the ground. Like, you can't be like, okay, Lucio, you are now on Symmetra Torbjorn level, Bastion level.
I don't know what it's like in Masters and GM right now, but in Diamond and Below, there really is no goats.
So Masters and GM is the same, but when a team runs goats, they do oftentimes see a win.
If they're coordinated enough to run goats, yes. And I think that's where we're seeing the difference between Al and...
Everybody keeps saying that coordinated enough to run goats, but I made Masters solo queuing goats. Like, because the other team wouldn't play goats, and I was just better at talking my team into going goats. And
Right, and
so,
that's
no, I
fine.
don't think that Goats Dive was definitely a harder comp to play than Goats. Let's all, as a community, stop bullshitting and just say it. Goats is definitely easier, at
I
least for the
disagree.
tank roles,
I
besides
disagree. I
Diva.
think that Goats requires, if you're playing against an equally talented team playing Goats against you, I think Goats requires more communication and more team synergy than Dive did.
I don't
Dive
think
was a
so at
lot
all.
about players. Dive was a lot about one or two players popping off, the rest of the team moving in.
No, you're talking about snipers. You're talking about double sniper.
No,
Dive
same with
was
Tracer
Genji,
Genji.
Tracer,
Yes,
uh,
and Tracer would
and the two tanks would
jump the
have to
back
jump.
line.
No, all four would jump the back line at the exact same time, jumping on the same character, having to get that vision. All the Goats has to do is properly rotate. It's very different and much easier, especially from like a tank point of view.
I mean, every single pro you ask would disagree with you. So
Not true.
I'm gonna say this. I think Goats at the Overwatch League level is harder than we think it is because you're playing against such superior talent than any of us are used to playing with.
But you can say the same for Dive.
You
know
can
what
say
I
the
mean?
same for Dive,
It's,
but
it's
like
just
I
the best
think
players in the world.
yeah, but there's like I guess it's just one of those things where the Shock, let's say for instance, was not the best, and even the Titans. The Titans are a Goats team, but they've been playing Goats for so long; it's second nature to them. The Shock have the communication there as well as the skill, and they're far superior. Whereas, I mean, like you said, you have teams not running Goats against their Goats because they can't perform it as well, and a lot of that is just timing. And I'm not even saying like communication; it's a timing.
It's always
right.
timing. And like I think the funniest thing in the world to me is thinking back a couple years back when all the pros were running Dive and you're on ladder in a high platter diamond queue, and everybody keeps telling you, "Oh, Dive's too hard to run. Only the pros could run that." And it's the same bullshit we heard about Goats when Goats came on. What it is that people just don't know how to run the comp. Like people thought
Okay,
dive
well,
just
I
meant
would
you
have
dive
rather.
to the point and not you dive on a specific character. And they would just everybody run in and dive to the point and just die. I mean, it's
Right.
not
So
harder.
so that was worse, right? When people were doing that than when they were like, "Yeah, guys, we got to play Dive," and then they don't know
Yep.
how to play Dive, and you're like, "No, that's not
Standing in a
Dive."
goat's
Just
ball is a
because
lot easier.
it's a lot easier if you're not playing appropriate like opponents, right? Like it's a lot easier if you can get away with a lot more. Yes. And it does allow for more forgiveness if the opposing team isn't as coordinated either. But if you're playing two coordinated teams against each other, I think Goats takes more coordination.
Oh,
And I'm not
well,
saying that it's harder mechanically to
NYXL
play.
would disagree with you last season because they had mastered dive and nobody else had. So,
And they couldn't do crap with Goats, and hence they weren't in the finals.
yeah, but what I'm saying is that certain teams are going to perfect it. And that's like, it's the same type of thing. But to say that Goats is harder to play than dive, I think is really absurd.
I don't think it's harder to play than Dive. Let me clarify. I don't think it's harder to play than Dive. I think it requires different skills than Dive did,
For sure.
mainly communication, timing, and teamwork.
Communication and timing were huge in dive, period. Unless you're talking about the sniper meta, and that was different.
Okay.
I feel like Dr. Phil over here. I feel I need to be like, now how do you really feel?
Let me tell you how I feel, Ed.
I feel like I am tired of goats, and if I didn't do a show on the Overwatch League, I would I would go on strike this freaking stage. Like I really would. I'm a
Okay,
little
negative
upset.
Nancy.
Yeah, but you're talking to Blazing Bob, one of the biggest Overwatch League and Overwatch fanboys there is. If I'm pissed, I guarantee you a lot of people are pissed.
Okay, well, can we talk about something really exciting that's coming though?
Yeah,
Because
do it.
something really exciting coming is that in stage 3, we will get to watch replays from the past week from any perspective, including the top down perspective, which I think will be
Thank you, Mel. That is
amazing.
awesome. Yeah, that is actually awesome. That is,
And
it's going to be a separate client you guys have to download. If you did the World Cup viewer, you will you like it's the same thing. And it has to be a separate client because it's not just a recorded replay video. It's literally every command that goes into the game. So the reason you have to have a separate client is because the Overwatch League is not on our same client. And you have to have their client or else the replay would break. Literally it would put things in that aren't in the game. And as Jeff put it, it does some really weird stuff if you go on the wrong patch and watch a replay. So
yeah.
that's gonna be one of the coolest things. I can't wait to see what all our content creator
Mhm.
buddies put out.
Well, I
Yeah, and
remember I was so excited. Sorry, Ed. Never mind. I take that back. I remember I was so excited about like getting to do this when they were announcing the Twitch like all access pass. I was like, oh man, I can go back and watch any player's point of view. And then that didn't happen, which is kind of a bummer because I like to watch the game originally, like just the game, right? Like I like to see what they show me and I like to watch it and just hang out and watch it, not like analyze it and study it that first time. And so this, I think, is the best of both worlds. Although I do wonder what it's going to do to the all access pass.
it could have an issue. You can follow on the all access pass individual players' cameras and get that going.
But you can't do it after the fact.
You can't do it after fact. One thing I was gonna say that they did announce that the matches will not be up until the next day
Yeah.
for the maps, and I'm assuming that has something to do they have with Twitch
I think they said
and
the
stuff.
previous week's Masters. So yeah, I don't know when
It's got to
they'll
be
be
some
available.
rights or whatnot, and
Well,
it's awesome.
legally, you're not supposed to put your content that aired on Twitch on any other platform for 24 hours. We get away with it because we're small, but
Yeah.
uh, it's
So
actually
that's
against the
probably why.
terms.
Yeah, which I get, whatever. Twitch is paying Overwatch League a lot of money. So if they say wait 24 hours, you wait 24 hours. We'll be fine without watching the Outlaws lose right after they actually lose. But it also should be noted that this is different than the replay system that we will be getting for our own matches. So, like, replays for our own matches will be in our actual client, all
Right.
that stuff, and have a lot more restrictions, which I'm not too thrilled about. But
Once
I'm super excited for the actual Overwatch League replay.
Yeah, once it hits. And like for anybody that doesn't understand what this replay system is, it's literally if you've ever spectated a custom game where you can literally look any place on the map at any time. You can go slow-mo, you can watch anything. You can watch if somebody, is Torb and builds a turret in spawn. Like it's going to be huge for the actual game and people playing with their friends because so many people playing together oftentimes have no clue what the other person's doing, and it's funny because I play with masters and diamond players, and oftentimes they say things that they thought I did, and I'm like, dude. It's not even close to what happened. And
Right. So now we get
this
to
is
go back and watch
something.
a replay and be like, Bob, yeah, it totally is what happened. See, like,
Yeah,
Well,
you know that's not the case though.
Bob will be able to see it. He can't actually share it with anyone. He streams it.
No, no. Well, you will have to record it, but I mean, you will have the opportunity to show that, and it's something I'm not sure. I thought that the Al coaches had this tool last stage, but
They did.
I'm not sure now.
No, they did. All
Jeff
the L
even
teams had
said
access to it.
Okay.
Jeff even said, I'm not sure in his interview with Stylosa. He's like, I'm not sure how upset this is going to, but we've had this from the
Yeah, no,
beginning.
no. He said
No,
we
he's like,
as developers have had this since the beginning, but it
Yeah,
only
he said-
worked on a few computers.
right, but he did confirm that L teams had it, or somebody confirmed. I don't know if it was Jeff in that interview, but I know somebody had confirmed that L teams had it for the last season. Maybe not this in depth. Maybe not like you can
Well,
see.
Jane had said that he thought they were getting access to it in stage 2 in a stream prior to stage 2 starting.
Well, I don't know.
Either way, it's going to be great to see how the actual see their whether like I mean obviously it's a lot different than what we will get because we can't even our videos or our replays or anything like that. We have to use a third party to record it. But this will be a nice way to follow some of your favorite players and you don't miss like that's the one I guess that's the one redeeming quality of GOATs. If there is one redeeming quality of GOATs is you generally don't miss a lot of the big plays because everyone's generally fighting together.
That's a good
Whereas
point.
Whatever. No,
in
not true.
Dive-
There are so many times where you're like, what the heck is happening right now? There's
Yeah,
23
but-
ults
But
going
it's
off.
all
You're
in front of
seeing it.
you.
Yeah, you're seeing it all. You don't know what happened,
Whereas-
but you're seeing.
whereas
But
in Dive-
with the new replay system, you'll be able to go back and go slow
Mm-hmm.
motion.
Yeah, like whereas in Dive, you could miss an important Widow headshot because they weren't following the Widowmaker. And they didn't have the replay system last year during this for us to see that. So now you could go back and see that. So that is, I guess, the one redeeming quality of GOATs is it's at least all on the screen in
It's
front of
on
you.
the screen, but it's hard to even tell. I've talked to a lot of the casters that cast the Overwatch League, and sometimes they're like, "I don't even know what the heck was going on." But I was just saying stuff, and then I'm like, "Oh, but nobody died!" And like, they've told me, "But nobody died" is something they have to say a lot now, and they don't know why they said it during the cast. They have to watch it afterwards and be like, "Okay." So
They're like,
it all goes
17
back
ults used
to
and nobody died. I don't understand what just happened.
it all
this guy
goes back.
dropped the half health. Oh, nope, he's back up. Never mind, scratch that.
It all goes
Could've been
back
cool.
to 2-2-2.
All right.
It would be better. But real quick, just to should we just real quickly, Ed, who wins New York Excelsior versus London Spitfire?
Okay, wait. These are highlighted matches. These are the ones that are on the highlighted matches for the stage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like,
So they changed the times and certain.
Ed, you're cutting out real bad.
I know it's our podcast filtering him.
Oh, and we also have a storm going on right now. They switched up some of the times to have better matches on Disney XD. So as far as New York Excelsior versus Spitfire, it's going to be close, but I got to give it to New York Excelsior. I just think they're the third best team right now behind the Shock and the Titans, and it's going to be a close match. It's probably going to be the actual week, so it could easily be a 3-2. But I'm going to go 3-1 for New York Excelsior.
All right, and I'll do Seoul Dynasty versus San Francisco Shock. 4-0.
Wait, I had a really good comment on that one. Do we not all get to say?
Well, we're kind of running out of time, so I was just kind of moving through it. But you could go ahead. I was gonna give you the fun one next, but
Oh, well, I just wanted to say that I think NYXL is going to win because they both have 2 games that week, and Spitfire has to play Uprising on Friday, and NYXL has to play Outlaws, which is unfortunate, but they probably aren't going to prepare for that, so maybe they'll lose because, and then they both play each other. So I think Spitfire is more split than NYXL is.
Okay. Well, what do you think about the Dallas Fuel versus Chengdu Hunters?
I think the Hunters 100% are going to take this, mainly because the Hunters are amazing.
You're full of it.
And Dallas Fuel is, they're all right. I like them. I like
One
the
of the
players.
best teams
but,
in the
like,
league, record-wise.
Yeah, but Hunters are the Hunters.
All right, Vancouver Titans versus Los Angeles Gladiators. And this one, the Gladiators have been prepared for this one for weeks now.
No, Titans. The best of the Gladiators.
No love for Decay? Nothing?
It's no knock on the Gladiators for team, but the Titans and the Shock are far and away the top 2 teams. And the best the Gladiators could probably hope to do is lose 3-1. That's best case scenario for them.
Okay.
So the only reason I say that is get a good bunker comp match, and then they can bring in Surefour, play him on Bastion.
They didn't even play Surefour.
These
But then you get
highlight matches suck.
But you
like,
get
now that I'm looking at 'em.
hydration. You get hydration and the Far Mercy and a bunker comp with Surefour on. It could work in theory.
It could. I don't know. I feel like it's June 30th. It's like a month away. Like, anything could happen between now and then.
Oh, yeah. See, yeah. These
The highlight matches are for
yeah.
all of Stage 3.
These were bad. Yeah, and they're bad ones, too. All right, so here, let me actually pick out some actual good matches. So,
Just for next
Charge versus Hunters on Thursday night. Who wins?
Hunters.
I've got to go Hunters on this one.
Yes!
I'm going to go Charge.
Whatever.
Okay, Bren.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're going to switch it halfway through
You
the
are
match, too?
definitely the Bren of the podcast world, my friend. You are definitely the Bren of the podcast world here.
Yeah, you're right. I am.
All right.
Minus the tight
What about Valiant
crotch
Dragons?
pants that he wears. I'm not gonna ever wear those.
What about Valiant Dragons?
Valiant. I've got to go Valiant. They're
Dragons.
they have the hot hand in getting a new main tank and probably a new DPS in Shaq. They went 3-4 in this last stage, and Shanghai went 4-3.
So Shanghai was better. So yeah.
It's a coin
Shanghai's
flip.
gonna win.
It's a coin
What
flip.
was their strength of schedule though?
See, okay,
don't
but
know that
why?
offhand.
But why are you doing the Valiant?
Well,
though?
then don't argue it.
Well, the reason I'm going the Valiant is because I think when they get Fact Fiction in and they get Shax in, they're going to be like rejuvenated.
Right answer. That's why I'm going with the Valiant as well.
It's going to be a close match regardless. I think Valiant are just going to, take that next step. Also, space
disagree.
is so good. Well, you're an Outlaw fan. Nobody cares.
I'm just
All
saying, like Valiant's going through a whole like change right now without Fate, and I think Shanghai will win, hands down.
Actually, a good game on Friday, the Gladiators versus Fuel. That could really be up in the air. Who wins that one?
Gladiators.
Gladiators.
Really up in the air for me, but
Yeah.
4-0 Gladiators. No, I'm just
Like, as in up in the air, like 3-1, 4-0.
it's a toss up.
It's a toss up for me. But no, I'm picking Gladiators. I mean, they're the
See,
best team.
and
fourth or
what
fifth.
Bob was trying to do there is bring us together.
I mean,
common
we
ground.
actually have agreed on 2 of the last 3
I've actually, I was actually doing that so chat could clip it, so I could make fun of you guys when
Okay.
Fuel wins.
Okay.
I mean, you do realize I just won't ever pick Fuel.
Yeah.
I'll pick Fuel if they face like the Outlaws,
All right.
the Mayhem,
Okay.
the Justice. The
I would
Charge.
say
I think Fuel's better than
NYXL
that.
versus Outlaws, but that would just be a laughable and a waste of time. So
Mhm.
we'll go with the Spark, who looked really good against the Fusion. What do you think about that for Saturday?
Fusion.
Think Fusion?
Only to disagree with Ed.
I'm
You're
going
just
with
giving
Spark.
me all the like.
I mean, I'm gonna go with Spark. I think they're the hot team. Since I don't know stage 2 of season 1, I have not been a Fusion fan. I think EQO, as good as he is on DPS, he is not
That's
that good of a Brig
wishy-washy
player.
fan, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
EQO on Brig is an EQ no.
And I mean, they have Sato. Let's just say Sato. That's all you need to say there. Like, I think they really have stepped back a little. Meanwhile, you have the Spark, who are starting to integrate Crystal more and more, and Bebe has really started to pop off on that flex support. So you get the Crystal and Godsby, and then you have Bebe, and then Gushue on his. I mean, Gushue is probably top 2 Winstons in the league. I mean, nobody is as effective as he is with Winston ultimates.
I think Spark is definitely on the rise, but I think Spark is still yet to find their identity. And I think that Spark's trying and they're moving in the right direction, but I think Fusion can.
I'm going to use
pull
your
it
own
together.
argument against you. Spark made the playoffs. Fusion didn't.
Yeah,
So
I think
they're worse.
Strength
Yeah,
of schedule
I think,
had a lot to do with that last stage, though. So
maybe, but I mean, Fusion has really been just kind of rough.
Yeah,
It's been really rough.
Yeah, they've been pretty bad.
What about
And-
same day Valiant versus Hunters?
Hunters.
You think so? Really?
Coin flip for me.
Yes.
She's always gonna, unless they play the shock New York Titans, Gladiators,
Outlaws.
or Spitfire. Well, I mean, you're just stupid. I'm just gonna go out there and say that if you pick Outlaw, just
Outlaws over Hunters. Total win.
I mean, it's a coin flip. I think the Valiant have a real shot at pulling this one off and starting off stage 3 right.
I think look at the Valiant though. The Valiant plays Dragons week, the Thursday of that game, and then Hunters on Saturday. I mean, the Hunters play Charge on Thursday and then Valiant on Saturday. I don't know. I feel like Valiant's gonna self-destruct.
Yeah,
I mean,
see,
Hunters
I
could
just
too.
don't know. I'm trying to look up my actual picks on highdo.gg because I am so on the fence here. Like Valiant was really starting to look up, but like they did get rid of their main tank, but I think they actually made an upgrade at main tank. So everybody's talking about Fate being one of the best main tanks in the league, and I'm like, okay, well, yeah, season 1 he definitely was, but season 2 he shattered a whole lot of walls. This guy hates walls, but he didn't hit any players, just a lot of walls.
Yeah,
So
and
Maybe
I
the
mean,
walls were egging him on. You know.
who are
never
you
know.
gonna trust? Somebody who is in 6th place in highnoon.gg pick'em or Mel?
Obviously, Mel.
Maybe you would be higher up if you were actually good at picking these.
yeah.
Maybe I'd be higher up if I remembered to pick them.
Whose fault is that? Your own.
Yeah, I am actually just 1 or 2 spots below you, and I definitely forgot 3 games in the playoffs last time. I wish they wouldn't do
Oh yeah,
playoffs.
I completely
Like-
forgot stage 1 playoffs.
It's so
That's weird.
Excuses, boys.
well, I mean, we're the only ones at the top of the list. Like you
Mhm.
can't really
As
talk
your
smack.
current unlimited league champion,
All right,
I would
so
agree with Bob.
Another game that looks to be actually pretty good, NYXL versus Spitfire on
We
Sunday.
already talked about that one.
No?
Yeah, we did. It was in the matches.
Oh, yeah, there was
It's the highlighted match for this week.
highlighted one. Yep, okay. Yeah, there's really... I mean,
hope
Titans
Justice
Gladiators,
League's
maybe, but yeah, no. I don't think the Gladiators have a chance, like with the patches going the way they are. Any San Francisco game or Titans game that doesn't feature both of them playing against each other, you know what's going to happen, so you don't really need to tune in. Sorry, I'm a little salty still. All right,
I can't tell at all.
We are going to close out the show today before I put my foot in my mouth any longer. We encourage you to follow us on Twitter. You can follow us at AlRecap. If you want to say something a little longer, send your emails to contact@alrecap.com. If you want to join our Discord, it is a thriving community. We share it with Omnic Lab. It is discord.me/OmnicLab. We had game night this last week, and it was popping off. We had three different rooms for like 5 hours. It was a really good time. I don't think you made it this time, Ed, but a lot of people made it. I met a lot of new people. Anybody I met, shout outs to you. It was a good time. We had a lot of new faces that I hadn't seen. This coming game night will be on Friday, the 28th of June. So you guys should definitely come to that one. It is a really good time. We stream live every week, normally Mondays on twitch.tv/AlRecap. We usually do it around 10 o'clock EST or 7 o'clock PST. We also are on every podcast format you can think of besides SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify. I mean, there's actually hundreds of them that we are on. So you can find us there just by searching Al Recap or probably searching Overwatch League. If you want to support us, you can do that by just listening to the show and telling your friends. I mean, that's the best way to get the word out. If you want to do something a little more, you can leave a review on any platform that allows it. I know iTunes does it. I know Stitcher does it. We do read a lot of those reviews on the show, and we like the constructive feedback. If you feel compelled to support us further, you can join people like Shazir and Ridiculous Brent in being patrons, and you can do that by going to patreon.com/AlRecap. Oh, guys, this has been a tough episode for me. I've been sick as a dog for the last few days. This is why the episode's coming out late. I apologize, but it's been a good time with everybody here. Ed, where can we find you and everything you do? You can go ahead and just do your spiel.
My spiel? All right. Well, you can find me.
Oh, you're cutting out, though. You're cutting out.
All right. You can find me and on Twitter at Edanar Overwatch. That's EDANAR Overwatch. I do host, co-host OWL by the Numbers with Blazing Bob Ramses, and hosted really by Totemly Drunk. That is our fantasy Overwatch League podcast that I dominate in. And then on Wednesdays, I do a show called Heroes Never Die with Totemly Drunk. And that's basically a variety stream. We do have our own game night coming up. First one in 6 months, I think, coming up on June 15th.
Yeah,
so,
and that's going to be a lot more like
we're gonna do a lot of workshop,
games, right?
We're gonna do a lot of
that's
workshop.
going to be cool. I'm going to totally be there too, so you guys could.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
ahead.
You get to see me fail miserably at the Super Smash Brothers version of Workshop because I've never played it.
To kill Ed.
And
well,
yeah,
supposedly we're supposed to have an
kill
Al
me.
by the numbers gun game, which if I don't win, is going to be pretty sorry for me since I've made it to Diamond above all the other hosts on
But the
multiple
thing
characters.
is, if I win, Totem has said he will send me an undisclosed amount of Overwatch League skins. So I feel all my co-hosts should throw for me. I'm just
Don't
saying.
do it. Don't do it.
Quiet, Mel.
Never throw for Ed.
Hashtag throw for Ed.
Just throw if you're an Outlaw fan.
But and then did you say your Twitter?
Yep, at Edanar Overwatch.
Awesome. And Mel, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Mel Overwatch, or you can find me talking general Overwatch on the Cavalry.
Which you're getting ready to edit right now.
Yes. A little late. Sorry, guys.
And you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. Oh, I'm sorry for my hosting this week, but I really am just getting over being sick and just really feeling out of sorts and a little angry about the 222 and no patch stuff. So I apologize for that. I will be back to my happy self next week. Thank you guys so much for coming, and we are out.
Bye.
Adios.